A little bit of the head is cut off. That's okay.
Like, Jade. Hey.
Just pop in there.
Welcome to the way scratch that, start over. Welcome to I Love the Way You Talk with KK. I have Paul, the main director of a new film that'll be coming out this year, possibly? Hopefully. And we're just going to continue the conversation about this film where we left off of. I want Jade, the fabulous Jade, to pop in. So we chatted with her about the film, and we weren't able to reveal much, but now we want to hear all the juicy details.
I was so gross, by the way. I had like gum in my mouth. I went,
That's okay. That's okay, Jade. So tell us, Paul, how long have you been in the directing / producing world?
So this is my first feature film. I'm doing a documentary right now as well, but this is the first one, so not very long, but it feels like my whole life. It feels like I've always loved movies, and so this is the culmination of many years of hard work and meditation and trial and error and all of that.
How did this opportunity find you? I know you're out of LA. Now we're here in the beautiful Seattle.
We decided to start making movies the way we wanted to make them. Not too many cooks in the kitchen, but collaborative certainly. It's a collaborative art cinema. And making the movies, telling the stories that we wanted to tell in the way that we wanted to tell it. So I think we haven't broken any rules with this project. We've bent everyone we possibly could. So we've got a long, slow, 2-hour plus horror film that is very much inspired by the classics, particularly Rosemary's Baby, which takes us back to the late 1960s, and very Alfred Hitchcock influence, David Lynch, Stanley Kubrick. That's my main man right there, and so we're off to a really great start. And Seattle is wonderful. This is my second trip here now, and I just fell in love with the Pacific Northwest on this trip, and Seattle particularly.
Yeah, I mean, we have something different here. It's a little bit different. And Sleepless in Seattle was filmed here.
Yeah.
That's a classic. I love it. So tell us, what is this film about? What sets it apart? What's the main narrative of
That's a great question. I think what sets it apart is we try to have a lot of relevance to sort of current events and social issues that are happening, not in a very direct way, but just sort of trying to engage the audience in such a way that says that, these things are very important. What's happening around us, politically, socially, there's so many changes that are happening right now in our country. And it's a very, very divided time, as we know. It's been that way for a while, and it just seems to be getting more and more that way. And so I really wanted to create a story that is unifying, where we're not really saying, oh, these guys are good and these guys are bad. We represent, very nobly people on all sides of the, political spectrum, the socioeconomic spectrum, and so on. And in the end, when you're dealing in the formulaic idea with horror that, it's a zero-sum game and it's life and death, suddenly all these issues that may be so important to us on an intellectual level don't really matter as much. It's all about, am I going to live? Am I going to be able to make it home to the people I love? And so on. And what road am I going to have to cross in order to get there? And I think we've got a really treacherous road sort of sussed out with this.
Okay, I have to ask you, what is one of the biggest social issues that is ongoing now in this world that you would like this film to really address and kind of showcase?
Well, there's a number of them, as I said, but I think probably the idea of human trafficking, because that's an issue that is very close to my heart, and it's a serious problem. It's one of those issues that seems to be escalating, and it requires so many hard fixes. But at the end of the day, I think it's something that just requires people to, reach into their hearts and also accept the reality that there is evil in this world. Absolutely. It exists, and we try to, by showing that, I think, in a fictional narrative way, I think it makes it more relatable to people, where they can really latch onto it, where it's not a film about human trafficking, but that's under the surface very much.
I love that. It takes a lot of creativity to be able to intertwine that. Now, how, you said it's close to your heart, human trafficking. Is there a story behind it? Is there something has happened in someone's life that you know, or is it just something that you notice that this is an issue, it's very prominent and it stood out to you and you're like, I want to address it?
Wow. I think that it's just one of those issues that for me, the idea of it is so morally repugnant. Human trafficking.
Yeah.
This isn't drug trafficking. That's like a slow road to destroying a human, but this is like immediate, very much like in a horror film. So I think for that reason, it was sort of an outrage on a moral level. I have two children, both devastatingly handsome young men, and the idea of one of them being ripped away and disappearing and never being able to know what happened. I mean, these ideas are just terrifying. And then frankly, in terms of the issue and becoming more activated on the matter, we have this beautiful lady right here as well, and I think she kind of kicked it up a gear, up a notch for me.
Yeah, and she's a great advocate. I love hearing her thoughts, having these conversations, and reading what she has a lot to say out there. And she's been in the world where she's firsthand seen the reality of it, and so I think it's an amazing collaboration, and the team is phenomenal.
When I read the script, there was this whole storyline about
I'm gonna have to hop in here.
Hey guys,
do you want to get in?
So there was this like a whole storyline of these elite people that were getting these kids basically trafficked to them, and I had seen a few things that were borderline getting into that like in real life, and I didn't really know how to approach it before, and now it's like after speaking with Paul, I'm like, okay, no, this is a very serious issue. I actually was in shock when I saw it, and it really has kind of woken up my emotional side to it, because I very much like disassociated, and now I'm able to really put my energy towards raising awareness for it instead of just being like, oh no, that never happened to me.
I love it. I mean, you're not just talking about it, not just thinking about it, you're taking action.
Yeah.
All of you, both of you, and I think it's amazing, and I want the whole world to be aware and known, and to watch this film when it comes out. Can I ask, how did the title A Reservation for the film come to be?
So, actually, well, I won't go into the long version. I love words. I'm a writer.
Okay.
And words often have more meanings than we realize. And one day I was, thinking, well, let's look at this, because there was another title originally. It was actually Field Trip, right? Students, professor, they drink the tea, the whole thing, right?
Like really young
Field
kids.
Trip. So I like the double entendre thing, but then it was actually a friend of mine suggested you should call it this. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And it's very hard when you're kind of married to an idea to necessarily break away, but I try to be a really objective in matters like this. And as I said, I love collaboration. I love great ideas from smart people. And so I polled 20 people, a few randoms and mostly people close to me. I said, which title do you like better? And it was like 16-4, reservation. So I changed it like that. And then I looked up the word reservation. I saw that there were actually other meanings beyond the more commonly associated ideas.
Like when you're having a reservation about an idea and things like that.
Right, and a Native American reservation and a dinner reservation. And the one that really pulled it off for me is the legal terminology, the transferring of an estate from one entity to another. And that's another aspect of this film. Yes. And so that was really cool to me. And I was like, this is a winner. And, from a word, an entire idea or great color and texture around that idea can be applied suddenly from that single word, and it's a beautiful thing. And so that
I didn't actually know that.
Doesn't sound too flowery. I think that's.
You're just so creative. It's like I keep thinking about the Victor Rolf perfume flower bomb, right? I just feel like your whole mind is just. It's like a flower explosion with everything that you're thinking.
That's a beautiful thing to say. Thank you.
You're very welcome. What's your role in this? Can you share that, or is it a secret?
I can't do spoilers, but I can say that I'm a British professor.
Oh!
And I'm over in America teaching at the University of Washington, and I take a bunch of kids on a field trip. And, whole bunch of things happen from there. You'll have to watch it to find
Oh, stay tuned. Any idea of like the month it will be possibly out? I know COVID puts restraints and pushes things back.
I just want to get
cinema?
through the edit without losing my sanity,
No,
you
I
know,
get it.
and then we'll talk.
But do you think it's going to be like cinema or just straight to like a streaming platform?
I really think that this movie belongs in theaters. It's very fun. It's very interactive. And I think a horror movie should be terrifying, but I think it should be fun for the audience, right? I think, you know, people like that. I think there's a certain psychology to living out that nightmare of, you know, again, the zero-sum game where it's like it's almost a cathartic thing and people walk out of there feeling good. What I hope is that people don't walk out of there and immediately say, where are we going for dinner? I hope that they, you know, it's the kind of movie that they want to talk about and examine and watch multiple times. That's the mark of a really great film to me is wanting to go back and see it, you know, more than 10
It's also going
times.
to be quite a sexy film as well.
Oh.
It's a sexy film, yeah.
And, you know, a near-death experience is one of like the ultimate aphrodisiacs. So I think people watching that, if it's done right, we will get that sort of.
Oh, you guys are mysterious. I just feel like we're all gonna be sitting on edge watching it. Do you have a favorite scene? Like just looking at the script, I know we're right now in Seattle, you're still shooting, the whole media team, all the actors and actresses are downstairs waiting for you, so thank you for being on here. Do you have something that you're like, I'm really looking forward to the scene, filming, editing it?
All of them.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Sometimes even just a little scene of a guy walking down a corridor. We just shot that a few minutes ago. It was, you know, so beautiful.
Yeah.
And
I think
but you know, honestly, at the end of the day, this is an actor's movie, most of all. I would say that my strength as a director, at least at this stage, given my, you know, limited experience behind the camera, I think that my strength is more in storytelling and in performance art. But I have an amazing team around me, so we're able to create more of that.
But it's
you know,
very helpful.
what's happening in here, the camera in my head is translating very beautifully. So as an actor's movie, you know, there's some great dramatic
No,
scenes.
but it's very helpful to have a director that can actually talk you through the emotions of it, because some just have a vision, and if you can actually communicate it to us, like we're getting it like first take, you know. It's like we know.
That's amazing.
We listen. We know.
That's amazing. Now let's go back a little bit in history. When did everything begin for you in the filming, directing, the creative, like producing field?
There's two versions. The first version is when I was 5 years old, I saw Rocky in the theater with my mother.
Okay.
And I walked out of there. I remember it so distinctly. I walked out of the theater and I didn't want to be a boxer. I wanted to be an actor portraying a boxer.
That's a very big difference.
That's it. So that was, although I loved boxing as a kid, I was a big Ali Frazier guy.
Awesome.
So that was sort of the impetus, and then, you know, things happened along the way. Star Wars was a big event for me. Ordinary People was like the first family drama that I really connected with, and it just took off from there. And I think then when I saw The Godfather when I was 14 years old, it was like game over. This is what I have to do in life.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, it's not a want, it's a need.
Oh, I love that.
And then in terms of the actual, you know, the practical steps, I think really this began when I left LA, actually. And moved first to Tahoe and then to the Bay Area. I think getting out of sort of that machine gave me a lot of freedom to create as an artist and sort of like, you know, define things on my own term and take my time and work on multiple projects. And, you know, I think that was it. So that was about 10 years ago that it really started picking up steam, and we got the vision for, you know, a franchise around this, several sequels coming off this, and developing projects in other genres as well. And so this actual project, from a production standpoint, really picked up steam about 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it's been nothing but trouble, but here we are.
We're making trouble happen.
Yeah, but you know, it's great. I always say we're building the plane while we're flying the plane, building the plane while we're flying it. Right? And that's kind of what's going on. And it's really, I know a lot of people hear that, especially in the industry. It's such a regimented process, filmmaking. They hear that and they just feel like, oh my God. But you know what? There's a sense of adventure about it. And I love that. Like every day is just so exciting. We were filming till 5 a.m. last night, and You know,
Yeah.
I was so tired. I woke up slap happy. That's a first. Yeah, yeah, legit. So.
And you're up again. I mean, it's what, like 8 p.m. right now, and you're gonna be here till 4 a.m.
Yeah, this is our morning.
This is your morning right now. You're about to go have lunch. Welcome to the producing acting world. Well, thank you both. Oh, did you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, do you want to mention anything about the sequel? So you can edit this back.
No.
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 Oh, dang. Okay.
They have to wait.
Oh.
We'll get there. You come to the original, then we can have a sequel. If nobody comes, there'll be no sequel. So that's kind of how it works.
This is the beginning of a very bright future, and I think this horror / documentary kind of movie, it's just it's gonna set off a blaze.
Cool.
You know, I love like the James Bond series. I love
right?
the Fast and Furious. So I think this is gonna be one of those. Like, it's just gonna continue and it's gonna add on.
Sounds good to me.
Plan?
Do I get a cat? I'm one of the cats in those scenes.
The minute there's gonna be a fast race car scene, just pop me in there.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Can we race each other in the song?
yeah, sure.
Please,
Why not?
please,
Like a running race?
please,
I don't run
No.
well. There's, you know.
No, me and Kristina
Jiggles.
in different sexy cars. And we'll just be racing
Ooh,
each
I want an
other.
Aston Martin. What kind of car do you want?
What? That's a British car. Give me that one.
It's a British car.
Alright, give me a
It's a
BMW.
British car.
Oh,
BMW.
the latest BMW. Okay, Paul,
Yeah.
so we made a deal. You'll possibly see me in a movie before you know it.
That sounds good. Thank you. What a great interview.
This is fun. It's like a conversation. I don't want it to feel like an interview. I want it to
Yeah,
feel
no.
like we're just friends
Totally.
chatting.
No. That's
Thank you
it.
for being on, Paul, Jade. You all stay in tune for A Reservation. Woo!
Woo! See you at the movies.
Sorry for chewing gum.
That's okay.
All right, that was awesome.